Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgemon and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Spice and Wolf episode 15. So, what did you think about this week's episode? Honestly, I thought this week's episode was a lot of fun. I thought it was very important to progressing the plot as well, because we get to see a lot of establishment between, Yuitsu and how, Lawrence is trying to find more information regarding Hollow's, final destination, how to get there, the story behind it, and we get to see some revelation slash lore dumps about that place from new characters that get introduced in this week's episode that are pretty important going forward in the story. So overall, I thought it was really good. Now, before I go any further with this week's episode, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my anime and manga, as well as all my Spice and Wolf content that I'm providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's episode. One last thing to note is, obviously you still see me, without my usual setup. I'm still on vacation. I'm gonna be on vacation until next Monday. So, expect me to give you guys these, in my car, because right now, as a matter of fact, after this video, I'm heading straight to SeaWorld, for my little vacations. And I'm gonna just be traveling a lot. So, bear with me until the time. But without all that being said, let's get into the week's episode. So the episode starts off where we see pretty much Lawrence talking to his friend Mark from the previous episode, and we see that they're talking about and how Lawrence is trying to get some information regarding Hollow, like the town and all that. Is like, do you know any chroniclers, which are the people that they record history, the historians pretty much. They keep stories about the previous past, pass them as chronicles or whatever. And we see that pretty much he's like, yeah, I might have something into it. Like, I'll give you a heads up. I might introduce you to somebody. And then he's like, okay, cool. So then we see Lawrence go back to the inn. Hollow's passed out. She's drunk or she ate too much. And we see pretty much that she's just tired in bed. And you see Lawrence like, okay, I got you some food. And she's like, yay. So she gets all happy. And Lawrence is like, hey, so I'm gonna be doing some business stuff. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to hang out with you a lot today. So here you go. Here's the coin. You can do whatever you want with this coin. Just have a good time, but don't spend it all. Don't be that dumb. Don't spend it all in one thing. So enjoy yourself. And she's like, okay, well, where are you going? Though, like, well, I'm gonna be doing some business stuff. And obviously he doesn't want to tell her about, he's trying to figure out about Yuitsu, the town and all that, because he wants to keep it a secret, because what if it's bad news, obviously. And Hollow's like, okay, well, I don't want to do that. Here, how about if I give you the coin back, will you come with me? And Lawrence is like, well, I'm kind of busy. And eventually, Lawrence is kind of telling her it's just and she's like, can I come with you, please? And then Lawrence is like, it's very important stuff. I need to kind of do this on my own. And then, Hollow kind of abruptly just goes like, okay, whatever. But she's like, you know what? So you're telling me I can enjoy myself with this coin? It's like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want to do. And then she's like, okay, so you won't be mad if I bring a guy over, right? If I do, please be very respectful and kind of leave the door closed and not bug us. So Hollow just trolling my man. She's just straight up going off on Lawrence, which is hilarious. I love the little banter. She's like, oh, it's so cute when I get you flustered like that. Hollow, you're something else, all right? But what happens is, after that, we see that pretty much Lawrence ends up going, around trying to find out about this chronicler guy. He stumbles upon Marty, and they're drinking. And then, Lawrence is like, hey, thank you for everything. Thank you for letting us, finding us a place to stay. And he's like, no, I got you, bro. No problem. Anything for my queen, Hollow. And we see pretty much Lawrence is like, hey, by the way, Hollow, he's like, where's your companion anyways? Like, oh, well, she's at the end, she's kind of bored. It's like, oh, but you can take her out and, have fun with her. Take her around town, because she wants to go out, but she doesn't want to go alone. And he's like, okay, I'll take you up on that offer. It's like, okay. So we see pretty much after that, Lawrence bumps into Batos, I think that's his name. And this guy's the chronicler, the guy that, tells the stories, the historian pretty much. And he's like, hey, I'll guide you to a place where we can talk about it. And we find out that there's a section of the town that's kind of separated from everything. It's kind of in the slums. And this is a section where pretty much the people look down upon, because they're all alchemists. And we see that this part of town, it looks all pretty broken down. You see mud in the floor. It just looks very bad taken care of, but it's because, they don't get the funds, obviously. And we do find out that Lawrence is so invested also, the Alchemist, is because they always buy a lot of elements. They buy a lot of silver, a lot of gold, a lot of everything, because they use it for their experiments. Not like a bunch of elements, chemicals, whatever you want to call it. And we see that Lawrence is like, okay, well, I heard about this guy called Diane or something, or Diane. So take me with him, take me to meet him. He's like, okay. And he's telling him like, yeah, you know, like historians are great because we get to, you know, continue the stories of our past. And they have a nice little talk back and forward. And, you know, he eventually introduces him to the person. And that person is the Alchemist. And to the surprise is like this beautiful chick comes out. And Lauren's like, oh, what's your name? He's like, oh, I'm Diana. Nice to meet you. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm here to meet Mr. Dine. I was like, oh, sorry. I'm actually the Alchemist. And Lauren's like, what? And he's like, yeah, you can call me Diana. I don't know what the Diane for is. But yeah, it's like, oh, come on right in. We'll talk like business. So they go in there and she's like, okay, so you're here to find out about this city called Yotsu. It's like, yeah. So then they start talking about the city. You start seeing like pretty much she's filling in the gaps of like, you know, she's telling Lawrence like, okay, well, there's this tale about this bear that came to the city and just wiped it all off. And this is something I don't remember ever being brought up in the original anime. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I don't recall them bringing up this story about a bear that destroyed the town. It could be new material. It could not be. Like I said, it's been a while. It's been at least like 2+ years since I seen the original, so bear with me if I'm incorrect. But what happens is she's pretty much filling him in like about the story, and Lawrence is like, okay, that's cool, but I want to hear about like how to get there and like what cities are nearby. And she's telling Lawrence like, okay, well, there's this city nearby. You guys can go there, and you know, she's filling him in, helping him out, like how to pretty much get there, and giving him information regarding how like Yuitsu's lore and all that. And throughout it all, you see that pretty much towards the end of the episode, you know, Lawrence goes back to the inn, or he starts heading back to the inn, but he stumbles upon Mark's wife, to, you know, his vendor friend, the merchant. And you know, she's talking, and then they start talking back behind the shop, and then they you know, he pours him a drink. They'll say, come on boys, like let's have a boys night. And they start drinking, talking about it. It's like, hey, by the way, I saw your fellow companion, she was with Amarty. It's like, yeah, that's fine, but what about it? It's like, oh, are you sure, bro? She wasn't like, you know, if I left my wife unattended with Amarty, I might be scared that she might leave me for him. So I was like, yo, bro, you might get a different wife. If your wife leaves you free because of another man having a better financial status, she ain't the one, bro. She might belong to the streets. But you know, Mark's girl, she is a real one. His wife is a real one, because she's just joking with him. She's like, hey, you know what? It's fine. Like, I love you. So that was really funny, though. I was like, when he was throwing all that shit at Hollow, I was like, yo, you calling Hollow a gold digger? Which, by the way, she kind of is. Because we find out that, you know, Lawrence goes back to the inn, and you see that she has like this fur coat, and she's like pimped out. Like, you know, she got all these like nice, you know, this fur coat, all this stuff. And then Lawrence like, he bought you all of this? It's like, yeah. It's like, bro, I'm gonna be in the red from all the money that I owe him from everything he bought you. It's like, oh, but he was having fun though. And you're like, Lawrence is like, dude, you can't just do that. You're just using him. And Hollow's like, you know, Hollow's like dismissing it, like, whatever. It's like, by the way, he bought me this. It's like, and you see like this cube. And this cube, for anybody that saw the original anime, they know this is a big plot thread going forward in the story. And what happens is this cube, you know, Lawrence is like, oh, what was it? It's like a little like irrelevant thing, right? It only costs like $1 or something. It's like, no, actually I saw people like auctioning it, like in an auction house, like they were bidding for it. And Lawrence was like, wait, they were bidding for it? It's like, yeah. It's like, holy crap, like, wait, so this actually has value. And then you see Mark's, like the merchant friend of his, you know, his employee, like his little kid apprentice, he's showing up to the door, you know, with an envelope or something, like a scroll. And he's like, hey, you know, big important news for my boss. And he's like, okay. So they go, and you know, he opens the scroll, he sees some type of information, starts running towards the city. And that's how the episode ends, which from the looks of it, you know, Lawrence must have a new breakthrough idea of how to make money. And there's a lot to chaos, drama, tension to prevail from the next following episodes. For anybody that's seen the original anime, you know what to expect. I know what to expect. And this is actually one of my favorite portions in the story, just because of the tension and the drama surrounding it. But with all that being said, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was alright? What did you guys thought? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Spice and Wolf, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.